Okay, so we are here in the amazing world of Stormworks again. I'm just going to do another super basics little video, so anybody who is just starting off can know what all the little things are and buttons and all of that. So let's just go over this front cover where you load in first. And I also want to thank Thermite. He sent me a big cheat sheet and spent a bunch of work on it and even offered to make me more, so I really appreciate that. It's really nice to have all of those thoughts organized in one piece of paper. So let's get into it. So the continue will just resume. So whatever game you were loaded into previously, it will resume you into that game and you will spawn in wherever you last saved. If you didn't remember to save, it might be a little surprise and you might be somewhere weird. Or if you died, you'll respawn, if you have respawn on. And yeah, so that's really simple. The next one is new game. So here is where you will go to create a new game. So you have World Seed. All of the islands and everything in the game stay the same, but your World Seed will put them in different order. So they'll all be in different areas of the map, depending on what seed you have, and it's completely random every time. So sometimes you can get a seed that puts all your islands really close together, and that sucks if you like doing the original game and like having a bit of struggle, but yeah, it's completely random, and you can choose your world seed. So if you have one that you really like, remember it or write it down, and then just copy and paste it in here because you can change it whenever you want. The next is game mode. So the first game mode is career. This is your hardcore mode. This one's a bit difficult. So this one, if you die, it's the same as survival, but you have to manage your money and move fuel around and all of that stuff, and you have all the blocks already unlocked. So that one's pretty hard, especially if you're just starting off for the first time. Like, you want to be able to respawn, preferably. The next one is Classic. This one you'll have third person, I believe, and you have to discover all the blocks and stuff like that. So you'll have a few to start off with, but if you want to build stuff, you have to go and find boxes and crates and stuff like that around the world and discover the new parts. Those crates also have money in them, which is useful. And same thing as career, you do missions to make money. I'll do another video on the different kinds of missions and all of that fun stuff, but yeah, so that's classic and career, and then custom is what I like to play on. This is a complete do whatever you want. You can change all of the settings, things like weather, your time, if you can teleport, stuff like that. So I like to do custom whenever I'm making a like classic game where I want to do survival, because I can kind of change the settings more around what kind of game I want to play at that time. And if you ever get stuck or something like that, you can always no clip out. If you're in one of these, you can't. So no clipping is basically just like teleporting, and your character has no effect on anything else around you. You can go through things and all that. So this is nice. I'm just going to do custom. So we'll just set this up, and then I'll show you the other buttons. And yeah. So that is the game modes. You can see a little description here also. Next is this. So if you click here, so you have a bunch of these different bases. These are where you spawn, so it just says choose base. So a lot of the spots have different sized workbenches. So the workbench is basically just where you build. And so the different sizes are like your max you can build and the minimum you can build. So you might only be able to make a small car and stuff like that. So here, the starter base has a super small dock. So in docks, you can build submarines, boats, all of that stuff, and they're generally, the workbench is sized for that stuff, so they tend to be longer. And then you have things like hangars, have like basically just a cube, and they're a bit wider, so you can build planes with wings and all of that. You can build cars and all that. Multiplayer is a good one. It has 2 docks and 2 hangars, so you can play with a buddy. Also garages. And garages are pretty small, and they're just really for cars or really small planes. And the last one is trains. So you can go to a train station and spawn in a train. These tend to be pretty thin and longer. But yeah, so just keep that in mind whenever you're spawning in. If you are in creative and you're just playing creative mode, then you can do whatever because you can teleport around. So we'll just press this for the purposes of this. Enable add-ons. So here, you can go down here and press back, toggle all on, or sorry, toggle all of them off, and this just toggles them all. Group A to Z, so that's just changing it. Date. So this is how you can change a bunch of the things in game. So things like default AI, you can go here. If they have the gear, that means you can have a slider or change the setting in them. If you don't want them at all, click that and they're off. Now they won't be in your game. And you can go through all of these default creatures. See this? You can change the amount like that, how dense it all is. Default elevators. So this is good if you don't have a very good computer and it's laggy. You don't need the default dock bullards or anything like that. So the more things that are spawned in, like elevators and stuff like that, landmarks, they're just going to be taking up space and you don't need it. So if you really want to optimize it, just take those off. But I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can see there's different stuff. Tutorial. So this, whenever you first spawn in, this will show you like how to do things, and it'll give you a little walkthrough tour. So if you're new and just starting off, you click that on. If you aren't, just click that off because it can get a bit annoying having just a text box in the way of everything. And yeah, there's a bunch of different things here. Weapons. So if you have the weapons DLC, you can change how often everything is and how many AI there is, if any. You can click that off too. There's also a good one for the natural disasters one. Somewhere in here where I can change, yeah, here. So I can change enable sirens, take that off, and change the frequency of them. So I can change that completely. If I want a tsunami every 1 minute, I can do that, but sirens get really annoying, so I just like to disable that. And yeah, but so we can also go to saved. So we can create add-ons in-game using the add-on editor. So that will let us make add-ons, like make missions, custom missions, load in bigger vehicles. There's a ton of stuff you can do. I'll do another video on that, but if you save it, this is where you can activate it beforehand. If you want more than one add-on in, do it here, because once you're in game, you can only have one in at a time. So that's important to note. And then if you download any add-ons on the workshop, you can bring them up here and then activate those. The more add-ons you bring in, though, it will slow your game down if that matters for you, like if you have a not great computer. So just keep that in mind. If your game is really slowing down and you have 50 add-ons, that's the reason, or at least one of them. And then if you have any of the DLCs, they will show up here. So Search and Destroy, Industrial Frontier, and Space. So this Search and Destroy is just the weapons DLC. So you'll still be able to use and see weapons and put them on your builds if you don't have it, but you won't be able to actually fire them. So buying this will let you fire them, and it's only like $10 or something. It's not too bad. And then the Industrial Frontier on the map, it will give you a whole other massive island down below where you can do oil drilling and all of that. Bunch more mining stuff, and then space. Just if you want to go space and use all the parts and all that. So let's not confirm. So if we press confirm, that'll bring us into the game. So let's go back, and let's go here, load game. So say we just did that, we loaded in, we started a new game, we save it, we exit. We want to go back into that game, we can press continue. If we want to load a different game, we can go here, and I can load any game I want from first whenever I started, unless I deleted any. So that's really good. And you can go multiplayer, so if you want to play with a friend, I would enable password and then make a password, because if you have anybody else that sees that you're online and they want to join, they'll just join, and that's not always good depending on what you're doing. And then max players, so you can choose how many people are in, and then if you want, you can do load game, and I can load whichever game I just made, whether it was on single player or whatever, and they'll be able to join that game. You can also do new game and then make a new game for all of it. You can also go to friends, so I can see who has an online server right now, or I can go to internet and reload. I've never been to any of the online servers. It is chaos, and I'm not interested. So that's multiplayer. Here is just settings, so you can change all your settings. Yeah, it depends. Why are my shadow quality low? Let's just put that at high. And then after you change something on your settings, make sure to apply and save it. You can see all of your controls here. It's nice to go through and see. And then always have your physics at high. If you're running them low, that's not where the physics for the game should be, and everything won't work as it's supposed to. Everything will be a little bit off because you're playing the game not where it should be getting played at. It's a physics game, you want the physics high. You can play around with it on low. Auto is just as bad. See what it does in low, just to figure it out, but I always put it to high. It's just easier that way and doesn't slow you down. Yeah, so that's it for that, and then we can press quit and go back to Steam. So that's it for all of that. I hope that was slightly helpful, and thanks for watching.